Hype Network presents.
Every time I try to strum a string, it just resonates happiness within me. You get me? Yeah. So that's kind of like what pulled me into the ukulele. And of course, you know me, a sprinter. So I got myself like a really cheap ukulele and I learned all the chords on that ukulele. I name all my ukuleles like Lucy.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Rajiv Show, and I'm your host Rajiv Doreswamy. And this show aims to help reach out to those who are currently struggling in life and to remind you that life is indeed beautiful when you're inspired to make it your own. Before we get into this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to whichever platform you are using. And if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at The Rajiv Show. Hey, folks, welcome back to The Rajiv Show. And we have one of the most energetic, most vibrant type of personalities that I've ever encountered, aside from, of course, the phenomenal conversations that I've had over the Let's Talk series. But I want to introduce to you guys one phenomenal conversationalist, one hell of a ukulele player, and by the end of this recording, he's definitely a nominee of the PPD Awards 3 times, man. Phenomenal, phenomenal guest. Andrew Topinio. Hey pal, how you doing?
Thank you. Hello, welcome. Oh, please hold the applause. Thank you. Hey, hey,
Uh,
hey. How are you?
Before we get into the conversation, of course, could you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself, aside from the stuff that I mentioned, of course?
Hi. So I'm Andrew. I like to take long walks on the beach. Oh wait, no, this isn't the. Oh this is the wrong show. Oh, I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on. Let me get my notes. Okay, joking. Hi, I'm Andrew. I am from Davao City. I am a person, and I don't know. I never really know what to say in these types of things. Um, can I have like a guiding question? Like, what do you want to know?
About you, what do you do, and where you are
Okay,
in life, you know?
okay. What do I do? Well, I am a. I do a lot of things in life. I'm a financial advisor. I'm also a podcaster, of course. Duh. A YouTuber. I do a lot of things. I do anything that comes into my brain, and then it just it's just there until I do it and then leaves. Do you get me?
Yeah, yeah, I'm there with
so
you. Mm.
so one time I was an interior designer. One time I was I'm trying to look at my room to see what I did. A painter. One time I was
I'm
a
sure you're gonna add
reader.
TV watcher. Because I know your LCD there is there.
Ooh, but mainly I do a lot of I'm also a fitness instructor on the side, so yeah. And that's mainly me. That's what I do.
Awesome, awesome. And wow, that was the longest. You had to think hard about that, didn't you?
I had to because I never really I get again, I never really know what to say in in these types of questions. Like, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Andrew. Th- That's it, really.
All right, then let's get into the meat and bones of this conversation. All right, first thing I gotta ask, of course, you've heard my recent podcast and stuff like that. First question is normally, if you and I were high school, who were you in high school?
Okay. If we were in high school, I'd definitely be that weird kid that ran, like the Naruto ninja way.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I can vision that now.
Do you know those types of kids? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. I'm that kid. I would also be that person who knew everybody for some reason,
Hmm.
and I would get along with anyone for
Hmm.
I would get along with anyone, and but at the end of the day, it's just like they see me as this weird kid who runs like Naruto.
Well,
Oh, and I'm also that kid who hangs out with people people older than myself. Do you get what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I would be hanging out with the older batches. I would be hanging out with the teachers after school.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm that kid.
Interesting, interesting. Right off the bat, I have two questions. Our follow up. The first one is, I you mentioned Naruto. You do the Naruto stuff. Are you a manga kind of person? Anime, manga stuff?
Before, when I was a kid, I was definitely an anime kind of
Hmm.
kid. But now I kind of do I kind of lean towards more on manga.
Hmm.
Wait, did I say manga or anime earlier?
Anime.
I
You
said
said anime.
anime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I was an anime kind of kid, and then as I grew up, I kind of leaned towards manga. It
Hmm.
kind of cuz like it changed the stuff that you get on anime. Like, sure, the characters are moving and all that, but it's like I I'm in it for the story. Do you get what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know what happens. So I kind of ended up, just reading the manga instead. And
Hmm.
it's not Naruto. I did not just, like, I am not that one guy who says who loves anime
Yeah.
slash manga and then just knows only about Naruto. I actually read my favorite manga right now is God, what was it? Skip Beat,
Hmm, that's interesting.
still ongoing. Yeah, so it's about this actor. No, it's about okay. It's about this girl
Hmm.
who who runs away with this guy to Tokyo,
Hmm.
and then um, the guy becomes a singer, superstar,
Hmm.
and dumps the girl,
Ooh.
leaving her in Tokyo. And as revenge, she vows to become a famous actress, and
Payback.
she's work. Yeah, that's the whole premise of the manga, and
Ooh,
I just
that's
love it
interesting.
because it works like a drama show, like the way that the chapters are set up. I just
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. Is that a mini series, graphic novel? How does the what's the setup there? Is it one shot? How does the thing according to your
Oh, that
collection?
it's still it's still ongoing.
Oh,
I read it online.
oh.
I like buy it online,
Mm.
and then like I read as it comes out. Uh,
That's cool.
Technically, I'm not caught up yet
Mm.
because I it kind of um what happens is I read, and then I end up reading the whole night,
Yeah.
and then the next day I regret my decision, so I
Yeah.
don't read for like months.
Huh.
So the chapters pile on, and then and then I end up trying to catch up
Yeah.
by reading, by pulling an all-nighter,
Yeah.
and I would be like, oh crap, I did it again. Yeah, so that's kind of like me. uh, i'm a I'm a, what do you call it, like a
Collector of
like a
ideas. I
like a
don't know the
a
word.
sprinter, and then like I sprint towards doing things, and then I stop, and then I sprint, and then I stop.
Yeah.
It's like that.
But at least you have the
It's like
discipline, you
that with
know.
me.
It's good that you have at least the discipline reading. It's funny for me.
Reading. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Funny joke. We're just gonna keep that between ourselves. For me, reading,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. To me, it's more about the environment that gets me into that groove. I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable reading in my room or even at home. It's funny when I was in college. I want to share this also. Is that the first book that I read? I remember Rich Dad Poor Dad. Of course, it's a financial book. It's not really nonfiction. Um, not. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not fiction. Is that I read that within weeks, and I was kind of happy when I was reading it outside. Outside the library. Our library was up in heaven. I remember, man. I used to walk up to that enormous building, and it's right up in the sky roof. And yeah, I mean, read there, and then after that, after some time, I when I head back home, I have like a library full of books. We have a funny joke there, but we're not gonna discuss that. Is that, yeah, I have books and books here and piles of books. And after that, once I got into the Rich Dad Poor Dad things started pouring. I think I mentioned this in one of my previous conversations as well. But the latest book that got me hooked was The Godfather. And yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable reading somewhere else aside from where I am. It's I don't know, something about the idea of home being for the home, for the needs of the home. But you know reading is not ideally
Yeah,
homey for me. I don't know. I
I
don't know if
kind of
that
I
made
kind of
sense.
understand that, because being at home is like, oh, I'm here to chill, I'm here to relax, I'm here to like not think,
Yeah.
maybe, you know
Yeah.
like I'm here to recharge, where but if I want to read, I have to be somewhere else
Yeah.
so
It's,
that my brain can get going, because
and
the home is just associated with it, with
yeah.
like
Yeah.
relaxing and recharging.
True. The funny part about that is when I was reading this book. I'm sure some few listeners out there who love Mario Puzo. I read this book Omerta, and I was hooked into it. Actually, I mean, there were times where, yeah, in the pandemic, I kind of left it aside because it kind of did the spoiler thing before the ending itself. I think it's 30% of the book
Mm-hmm.
already. I nearly read the 30% of the book, and I was engaged with this spoiler. I'm not really a spoilery thing, but the character that I like uh, happens to die, and then there's this case that gets solved over that period. It's funny. There's a chapter where they reveal the killer. The killer is this, and then every time I want to open that book, I often ask myself, is it really that worth it? Because by the time I already know who the killer is and the killer who killed my favorite character, it kind of gave me that justice already. And I'm just thinking whether is there anything else to be solved. I mean, I'm already good. I mean, they should have cut the book from there itself because I think it was page saying 70 or 80. I don't remember the page, but yeah, it was like 30% of the book. Now I don't really feel like continuing, but yeah, the environment and the stories are the thing that really interesting. I mean, I'll admit it up front because I think I've said this in countless collaborations that I've spoken to as well. Is that I'm a huge mafia buff kind of guy, and ever since I saw The Godfather 1, 2, and 3, of course, the third one, bit okay. I kind of got hooked to it, and then I was watching it, and then it was from there. It was kind of the same pattern as yours with anime
Uh-huh.
transitioning into manga. It was kind of the movies got me first, and then when I read the book, I mean, I read the book I think 2 years ago or prior to this recording. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, and I finished that book, and I kind of enjoyed the book more than the movies because it kind of fleshes out the characters, and it's just hard imagining. The only thing about the movies is, of course, the imagination, how the imagination kind of plays its tricks. But yeah, it's really fun, and yeah, that's one thing I love about books.
I wanted to add, that's the thing though. When I read, okay, for example, there was a time in my young adult life
Hmm.
where I read a lot, where I read the whole Hunger Games. And
Wow.
after that, I watched the movie
Hmm.
and I was like, this is not what was going on in my head.
Ah, you had, but
Do you get me?
I gotta ask though, like, what's the visual? Do you, when you read, you kind of visualize it as a second person, third person when you're reading? I gotta ask. When you're that in that moment with the book, or that depends
Oh,
on the book.
I envision it like a movie.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, it kind of depends on the book because
Yeah,
sometimes there are books that do it in first person. Then
yeah,
you kind of see it in from their point of view. But
yeah.
um, like for example, in like Hunger Games, I never like there was this one scene
Yeah.
where spoiler, one of one of the characters important to the main character dies,
Hmm.
and I'm like like that was not how I imagined
Ah.
her death, oops, the
Oops.
death to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? So I
You
had to
had to.
keep rereading the book after I watched that movie.
The question I wanted to ask is that when you read the series or a book or manga, do you read them from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, or do you just skip, like, okay, I'm going to read this for the hype, and then something else is coming. Okay, I want. How do you read, basically?
Oh, do you mean like sporadically? Like, do
Yeah,
I
your
do
discipline
I like?
in reading.
Hmm. Okay. Back then, I used to have a time for reading,
Oh.
so it used to be like at night I read, and then
Hmm.
that was when I would fall down a hole and I would end up staying up all night reading it. Um, but now it's kind of like, oh, I got some time. I can open up a book. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I have like a book here on my bedside table. I read it before I go to bed.
Huh.
It's like about photography. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's more of like when I have free time, I read.
Yeah.
If I don't have free time, I'm sorry, book, but
But
back to the
wait,
bookshelf for you.
back to the discipline part though. When you read, is it the same habit as you are when you mentioned you get into the rabbit hole and all that stuff?
Ooh, right now?
Hmm.
No. Because we're always at home, it's like I have so much time to do nothing.
That makes sense. That
You know,
makes sense.
do you get me? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I could read you, but oh, I'm busy doing nothing. So,
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
and
I kind of
sometimes,
related to that.
and sometimes
Yeah.
And sometimes I really just put on a audiobook
Ah,
because
interesting.
who reads books.
Wink, wink. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, yeah, we had a phenomenal opening with the books. I want to transition to one thing that you've mentioned, fitness. Um, how did you get into fitness? I mean, moving on from reading, of course, readings. You mentioned habit, but sometimes
Hmm.
it's also like sense of paradise. But what is there a story that got you into fitness? Is it that Arnold Schwarzenegger motivation video on YouTube that you saw that I gotta do this? I don't know why I did an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, but yeah. Yeah. What got you into fitness? I mean, because that is yeah, that is one monster in itself. It's not just the mindset that you get into; it's more the physicality and the challenges that you go through, especially as an instructor. You have to feel it before you teach it. That's the one thing about fitness. That's the thing. So, what got you there?
Okay, so I used to be like a uh an exercise. You know how I told you, like, I would always get into things like in a sprint, and then I would like take a break, and then I would sprint into it again,
Yeah.
like that. So fitness was kind of like one of those things. Um, it started out as a hobby, and then um, during that time, I think it was like, how long have I been? Ooh, oh, okay. Hold on. If you count my college years, because I've been a fitness instructor my whole college life.
Hmm.
Um,
Could you take us back to
I
when?
was in college.
When was that story? If there's some story there.
Oh my god, I hate counting the years.
No, but take us back. The
2020.
Yeah, take us back
Okay,
the moments, not the years.
back in my day. Um, no. Okay. So during that time, I was only into it as like a hobby. Like
Yeah.
I would, I love to exercise. I love to dance, even though I have two left feet. Even though my body is like a stick. Um, and all of a sudden, my sister comes to me, and she's married, and she tells me, uh, Andrew, I am pregnant with my second baby.
Yeah.
I need your help. During that time, I had just graduated from high school, and I took a sabbatical year from college.
Yeah.
I didn't like it was like because truth be told, the reason why I took a sabbatical year is because I wanted to take the upcat, because my dumb brain was too too slow, like was too late to
To
it
react.
was too late for me to apply for it on my final year. I decided that I wanted to go to UP
Yeah.
um on like right after I graduated. So that was kind of the problem. So
Yeah.
I wanted to take the UPCAT, but the thing was, it's either that or I go to a different college, and then like keep my grades up, and then like transfer to UP from there. But uh, I know I'm not gonna do well in school, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try and take the UPCAT.
Yeah.
So that's why I took a sabbatical year. During that time, my sister was pregnant with her second child, and during that time, she was teaching, uh, like some Zumba classes. It's not really Zumba because uh, it's kind of like Zumba in the sense that it's like a group class, and there's dance and
it's kind of like set up how Zumba is set up, but it's like hip hop and
Hmm.
uh, other things aside from Zumba.
Yeah.
So since she was pregnant and I was available,
Hmm.
I I took over her classes,
Hmm.
and one thing led to another, and until that was what was keeping me going through
Hmm.
college, and that paid my college in the final 2 years.
Oh, that's nice.
Um, yeah, uh, because I ended up landing a job at a local gym
Hmm.
for my last 3 years of college.
Hmm.
So I used the money that I earned there to pay for my tuition and all that. And yeah, and up until now, it's just this thing that I know how to do. And even right now, during the pandemic, like there are people who are still looking for like fitness instructors who
Hmm.
wants to like do aerobics and stuff like that. And I'm kind of their guy for that.
That's cool.
So
That's so
I go
cool.
out sometimes.
Yeah. That's cool, man. At least you have something, keeping you productive. Interesting.
Yeah.
And what was the other question? I wanted to open this conversation to how to be extroverted. Because I think on our last conversation, um, that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
recorded, of course, yeah, our last conversation that wasn't recorded, we were opening up a good conversation
Wink,
about
wink.
being extroverted. Yeah, I know. Wink, wink. But before we open the questions about extroversion and, of course, inspire a story and hopefully an inspiring story to that and motivational piece. Before we get into all that beautiful stuff, I mean, let's take a short break, folks, and then, folks, we'll be right back after these few messages. If you want a great vacation place this summer, we got a sweet deal for you. La Casa Vacance in Batangas is a great place for your family to relax and enjoy. Go to pipenetwork.co slash La Casa Vacance to use the promo code PRS to get 300 pesos per booking. And don't forget to follow national safety protocols, folks. Cheers and enjoy your stay.
Catch the Pizarra Tales weekly as we tackle issues about education and share experiences about teaching. Hosted by James Australia, available on your favorite podcast platforms.
Hey folks, welcome back to the
Hype
Rajiv Show,
Network
and
presents.
I'm here with my phenomenal guest, the energetic, the one and
Every
only
time I
Andrew
try
Topinio.
to
And
strum a
we were
string, hi,
earlier
it just
earlier on we were
resonates
speaking about gym,
happiness
and we were talking
within
about
me.
manga, we were talking about
You
books.
get
Wink,
me?
wink.
Yeah. So
Now,
that's kind of like
Wink,
be-
what
wink.
pulled me into the
before we
ukulele.
get into the,
And
the crazy stuff, I
of
mentioned
course,
also in the intro that
you
you're
know
a
me, a
ukulele
sprinter.
player.
So
I gotta ask,
I
what was
got
the
myself like
motivation
a
there and
really
what was
cheap
the story
ukulele,
there?
and I learned
And
all the
I gotta
chords
I
on that
wanna know the
ukulele.
story there. I'm
I
interested
name all my
because you are a
ukuleles like
phenomenal ukulele
Lucy.
player. I gotta admit, when I heard you, the reason why I wanted to have a conversation with you, and I think you know this already, I mentioned this to you before, is that during one of our catch ups or in our community, we uh, we were I was surprised. I was surprised. I think it was a game night in the PPD show, and it was a surprise that you were there, and then your ukulele was there, and your music, your voice. I mean, yeah, that I'm a sucker for good sound, for good tunes, and I said, I told myself, even though yeah I wasn't up to par during that entire PPD day, I in the back of my head I said I need to get Andrew to my show. So I gotta ask, what's the story there? How did you find that small 5 string and 4 string, and how what's the story?
Okay, this was a few years ago. I was still with my ex. I remember it because my ex was who he was who. Okay, hold on. My ex was who got me into ukulele playing.
Hmm.
He was a ukulele player, and uh, I was a big fan of this local indie band, Thea, the band Thea,
Hmm.
and because they're local, of course, you could access them, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I kind of, I kind of cheated a little bit and used my my vlogging, privileges
Hmm.
to get closer to the band Thea,
Yeah.
and it worked. And all of a sudden, I was invited to this launch party of their ukulele community, the
Yeah.
Cuatro Cuerdas.
Wow.
And I was there. They invited me, and it was just, you know how when an instrument or like something you see and you see it and it's like that is me.
Hmm.
That that was kind of like me with the ukulele, because during that night with the where everyone was playing with the ukulele and how cute it was and how small it was, and like how it sounds happy. uh I have my ukulele here right now,
Hmm.
you know like like it's out of tune, but don't mind that. It's it's how every time I try to strum a string, it just resonates happiness within me. You get me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what pulled me into the ukulele.
Hmm.
And of course, you know me, a sprinter. So I got myself like a really cheap ukulele, and I learned all the chords on that ukulele.
Hmm.
I name all my ukuleles like Lucy. Uh, so this is Lucy number 3.
Oh.
My first Lucy was a small soprano ukulele,
Oh, that must be high
and
pitch.
yeah, she was high pitched. And then I sold her to my sister's friend
Huh.
for some money, and then I bought Lucy number 2, and Lucy number 2 stayed with me for years. I think that was the ukulele that you saw me play. Was it the black one, or was it a red one
I don't remember
that
the
you saw me
video.
play?
I don't remember the video anymore. I mean, but the thing that caught my head, my ear, was the sound. I didn't really pay attention to the details. Yeah,
Oh,
I was having an off day. I think I remember that day clearly, the night clearly. But yeah, I
yeah.
don't remember.
You kind of like, okay, yeah. So that was my second ukulele. The red. It was a red one. It was like a Les Paul.
Les Paul, yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
Les
It
Paul.
it was like a Les Paul ukulele. I sold that during the pandemic, and I
Yeah.
bought myself with that money. I bought myself a. I downgraded a little bit.
Huh.
I've always wanted a Kala ukulele, because this was the ukulele that the band Thea
Mm.
The Banthea's ukulele player told me
Mm.
to get. Uh, she told me her name is Thea Pitogo. She told me to get Kala or Makala
Mm.
because it was like one of the best types of ukulele brands out there,
Mm.
and I love, you know, buying this now. I love it so much, and yeah, she's right. Like the sound is so much better than Lucy number two. So this is Lucy number three.
Mm.
Say hi, hi Lucy number three. Okay. Um, and every time I play it, it just makes me happy. It's my own little, you know, little. It's my Insta sunshine.
Oh, interesting.
You're just taken to the beach with it.
Quick question before we move into this thing. Is that kala ukulele? Is that something to do with the Hawaiian tuning, or is it the same standard tuning as the standard ukulele?
It's tuned like a standard ukulele. I think the difference is it's just the quality of the wood. Forgot what wood this
Ah,
was. God,
because when you said kala, it's like,
I was
whoa,
so.
wait. I know I'm a string player myself. I mean, classical guitar, nylon strings, metal strings,
Mhm.
bass player. I played a flat wound and stuff like that. So I never knew that ukulele had variations, and I think the tuning is in fifths. That's what I'm told by my professors. Because if you take the first four strings of the guitar, from the E, B, G, and
Mhm.
D, and you put a capo on the fifth. That's basically the fifth of sing. That's the fifth, and that's the standard tuning of a ukulele. Or I think I don't know if I'm wrong, but yeah, isn't that the same tuning? I don't remember the fifth tuning
Yeah, yeah,
already.
yeah. It
Ah,
is. It's like it's just the standard. All the ukuleles are the same, except for there may be one where it's like a low E.
mm,
I don't understand the hype of it.
mm,
I still have to get into it,
yeah.
but mine this is just the standard, and I'm already doing so much.
I have a
So
feeling you're having a ball and making more magic. I mean, there's when you mentioned the word saying Hawaii. When I mentioned the word Hawaiian, the first thing that came to my head, I was listening to this tune. I mean, I'm still listening to this tune from time to time by the Fearless Flyers. These guys are instrumental guys, and
mhm.
I was listening to this song called. It's a Hawaiian thing. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kauaiwa. I think, yeah, Kauaiwa. It's a Kauai.
Don't ask me.
Yeah.
I'm not Hawaiian.
Yeah. No, but what I'm trying to say there is that when you listen to this piece, for those who haven't heard this, is that this piece is very interesting. It's very Hawaiian kind of feel, and it's got the
Mhm.
vibe. It's got the simple groove. It's got that laid back, uh, snare bass, and then everything in the background. You feel like you're in Hawaii, basically. You got the welcoming stuff and whatever Hawaiian stuff that. And that's the Hawaiian. And I think the origin of what I know I'm not a historian of instruments, but I think I've been told, or I've seen, that the beginnings of ukulele instruments started in Hawaii, or the instrument moved from there. I don't know. It was a source of entertainment. But yeah, that's my knowledge of it. Like I said, I'm not a historian, and I respect the instrument because I know it's a part of the guitar family. And although I feel uncomfortable playing it, but yeah, for me,
Yeah, because it's small.
it's not really the size that thing. The funny thing about it is it's something to do with the mind muscle connection. See, for me, bass player,
Oh,
bass
okay. Yeah,
guitar,
yeah, yeah.
it's easy to transition between those two because you got the sixth string, and then if you take the bass, you just take out
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
high E and the B string, and then you just take that, and that's your bass. And it's the same pattern for me. I'm a pattern thinker. When I see like a scale, or I'm not getting into theory here, folks, don't worry. What I'm trying to say is that when you're playing it pattern wise, it's easy to memorize, and then your muscle memory kind of, you know it's easier to figure it out, and but when you play fifths, and you tune it to fifths, and you have to find the scale, it takes time for the muscle memory to get into that sound. I don't care whether it's the size of the Titanic, as long as it plays a tune and it has some patterns and I can memorize it, then it'll be easy for me. But yeah, that's just me. That's just my 2 cents about that. But I really respect the instrument.
You see, this is where we were different. Because when I was young, my mom bought me a guitar.
Huh.
I could not play a guitar at
Hmm.
all.
Because
I
of the
always
size?
thought I was like I no. It's not the size. I just could not for some reason. And when when I held the ukulele, it was like, "Oh my god,
It's much
I
easier.
I can play an instrument." Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you
It's
didn't
like
settle down for
this
bongos,
instrument
pal.
is made for me.
Bongos would have been easy. I don't care what tuning this is. I don't care whether I'm
Oh,
drunk or I'm happy. I'm just hitting some stuff.
you know what's easier? The
Yeah.
triangle.
Oh yeah. But if you're in an orchestra, it's
Yeah.
the toughest. Yeah, there's a funny joke that was circulating during our
Mm.
theory class. It's the most easiest instrument to play. But when you're with an orchestra, and let's say the piece is like, it has sections, like you have A, B, C, D, and then mostly it has five sections, and then towards the end, ding! It's funny. My professor, I remember, we were laughing about it. Is that if in case, oh yeah, we had this on Rondalia. The one of our guitarists, I don't know, they were just having fun, and then wanted to sing, and they were making fun, and it's a good thing that yeah, he was educating us about the sections. I mentioned earlier the ABC section, and he mentioned that you gotta have that because if in case your triangle player will be like waiting, and then once you finish, especially if you're having a medley or having a nice piece of music and you don't know where the sections are, let's say first part, section A, section B, or one, two, three, or however the numbering system is, you have to have that so that at least when you miss, when you're conducting or you're playing the music and you miss a particular note, especially when you're a conductor, you miss that particular note, you have to go back from the top. Instead of that, at least let's say you made a mistake, from in between A and B, so that section somewhere there, somewhere in midway A. So when you miss that, the conductor would go to A instead of going all the way back to thing. And then let's say the section has like the F, and then the triangle player will be in the end. Like
Mm.
he misses, he was supposed to just do that. He'll be sleeping, and then ding, he misses that particular piece. But yeah, oh man, that brought back so many memories in college. And yeah, I mean, that's the fun part. Playing musical instruments. It's just that, for me personally, I'm a pattern player. You give me anything pattern play, I have to patternize it in my way of seeing it, because I otherwise it won't dial in. That's my thing. But anyway, let's
Mhm.
transition, because before the break, I think I mentioned that I asked the most important question, and the most important question is how to be an extrovert, because you are a very bubbly character. From the first time we met, the first time you said hi, we kind of knocked it off the park, because I love your energy. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because for me, I don't really like to consider the belief of labels, but I always transition smoothly from being an introverted to extroverted, and I don't really stay in the mid. I don't know if the word middle is the ambivert style. I don't know. There's something about that I don't know. It's a thing, but I gotta ask. I'm sure some few introverted folks who want to learn to be extroverted. I wanna ask this question on their behalf. Is that how do you become extroverted? If you were in, if you have a story to tell, feel free.
How do you become an extroverted? Okay, I just said extroverted. That's me. I'm extra.
Yeah.
Extroverted. How do you become extroverted? Well, it's for me. It's always about connecting with the other person
Hmm.
that you're talking to. Um, I am an extrovert, but I can't do that thing I can I can command a crowd. I can't do that. I can't lead a crowd.
Hmm.
I blend in a crowd. But if we're in a one-on-one,
Yeah.
I I will understand you. I will know you. I will I will feel your emotions. I Kasi being an extrovert, all about, you know, for at least for me, it's about making the connection with the other person,
Hmm.
making that person to person connection.
Hmm.
Introverted is like, for me, it's like, oh, the energy is being generated when I'm alone.
Hmm.
But for me, the energy, it's generated when I'm with someone. And uh that's always been me. If I'm the type of person that you give me and this energy, and
Hmm.
I will give this back to you. um a story, like, hold on. mm, I'm gonna have to think about that,
Before you get
but
into a story,
yeah.
um, before you get into a story, I gotta ask,
Mm-hmm.
what is your approach? Because for me, being here for almost 5 years, I think one thing that I've learned for 5 years being in the Philippines, is that I have a failure in communication in terms of the idea of approach, and it,
Mm-hmm.
every time it's when I meet people, it's that I have that challenge. It's like it's like a disability, because when I started out in college, the way I saw things is that my intention is good towards the people, but that's how I see things.
Mm-hmm.
But people see it in the negative sense immediately, and I don't know what's wrong in my approach. See, like I said, I can transition from both into sing, and the introvertedness was not really a part of me because uh, by nature, yeah, I think I mentioned that I've been isolated. So those years when I was isolated, it kind of became like my fresh air already. So it came natural to me. And then when I transitioned back into society, it was more very hard, and it's degrading when you're trying hard to approach people, and then people don't like it, and then you go down that path, and then it goes back to kind of. That's why I mentioned in countless podcast episodes are mentions that I can transition to an introverted because of that, because of the sense of the environment. And how is your approach? I mean, do you study the person first? Do you watch them from afar and say, okay, I want to understand the mannerisms and stuff like this, and then approach? Or you approach and ask questions, like a salesman, you ask the questions first before you give in to the sales portion?
Honestly, it's all about, just knowing the kind of energy that they give.
Oh, so it's by
It's
feel.
hard to explain. Yeah, you feel it.
Hmm.
um I think part of why that's why I am is
Hmm.
because I always try to think of what the other person is feeling and what the
Yeah.
other person is thinking.
Yeah.
And I think that that's led me to some great friendships,
Mm.
because like there was a time in high school
Mm.
when I made friends with, the introverted people,
Yeah.
the people who were loners, the people who didn't, you know
Mm.
like, who
Conversate
could
much.
not, yeah, who could not be with other people because other people find them too weird. you
Mm.
know it it's it's all about feeling their energy and mixing that energy with your own,
Mm.
and then you create something together.
I
uh,
love it. I mean, for me, it's just my challenge. I guess it's to each his own when it comes to approaches. Because for me, I've always wanted to know the right way of being extroverted in such a way that I don't. I think you know this, that there are certain levels of being extroverted to the point that it becomes narcissism. And
mhm,
there are a lot of extroverted who have a little bit of self control. They don't really say much about themselves, and they approach, and it's more like a kind of leadership quality. But there are some I say extroverted, but really more narcissistic than ever. It's more narcissism than saying extroverted. So I've always been curious and to my approach. So I mean, I understand by feel, by vibes. That's an interesting thing. I mean, I'd keep that in mind. And next time, hopefully, when this pandemic is done, I want to understand and see if I could integrate how you try it, and then see if perhaps it works. Because to me, it's always a challenge. That's the one thing I guess in my life that I've always challenged, especially and knowing the fact that now after before the pandemic, I was trying to spread my wings, as they say, and I wanted to spread my wings and try to meet people and then reach out. And it's a challenge online, because one is you don't have that face to face kind of connection because you're far away, and that's my challenge.
mhm.
I hopefully I improve on my skill in approaching, and yeah, if not, of course, I always have to transition into that um, silent character of mine. But anyway, we need to wrap up this conversation. I've learned a lot about how to be an extroverted, and now we know that you got books. Wink,
Of
wink.
mixing energies.
And yes, and I love your story about working out. That's good. I love the fact that you're still out there and you're helping promoting health in a time of crisis where people let themselves go. More power to you, pal. But before we wrap in this entire show, of course, if my listeners would love to connect with you via social media, how do they find you, pal?
Okay, if you want to find me, I'm all over the internet. Just look for me at the Andrew Tops. That's TheAndrewTops. I also have a podcast full of spooky stuff. The Frightening Alarming Real Life Tales Show. And I'm trying to think. Am I somewhere else?
You're good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to thank my guest, Andrew Topinio. We had a phenomenal conversation. We opened up a box that was supposed to be a hidden joke, but yeah. By the end of the release of this episode, probably everybody knows that we love to laugh at ourselves and we're weird people. And I want to thank my guest, Andrew. Pal, thank you so much. Hopefully, somewhere down the line, we'd collaborate some more, and hopefully, you'd come back to perhaps the next coming seasons. And
Yeah,
that will be
I
fun. It'll
really
be
hope so.
interesting. And I want to thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Rajiv show. I mean, I hope my listeners also learned a thing or two. That and thank you again. Thank you, Andrew Pino. more power to you. More power to your
Thank you.
podcast. And
Thank you.
yeah, and for those who are listening, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Cheers, folks. I will see you in the next episode.